So
we'll edit that part out.
Sorry? Oh, yeah, I was going to cut that out. I was just asking. So
I listen to a podcast all the time. They always say they're going to cut something out, and they never do. It's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, they're always like, yeah, we'll cut that. We'll get rid of that. And then, like, they never do. Good times.
Well, it's
Good
like
times.
they'll try to get them to say something, like, stupid, like, what's your next big thing or whatever, and it's, like, a secret. Like, everybody's, like, wondering, like, you know, like, what, like, product are you coming out with next?
Right.
Or what's your next big show or whatever. And it's just, like, they'll try to get him to say it, and the guy's like, I don't know. And he's like, don't worry, we'll cut that out.
We'll cut that out. Yeah, we'll cut that out.
You can just hear it, you're like, oh my gosh.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, it's so funny.
So, what is something that you regret from college that maybe like you didn't do, and what's something that you've really are glad that you did in college?
Cool. Okay. One thing that I really regret is just moving off of campus after my freshman year. You miss out on so many like opportunities to meet people and so many like events going on around campus. Since we were freshmen at the same time, CAP would host like events like that, like a mirror maze or like a haunted house or like a putt-putt thing, you know, comedy night, whatever. So having to like go walk around because living in HAB, you know, there was no dining hall nearby. So, you know, depending on what time it was, you'd have to walk all the way to Ottawa or Parks or wherever. So you would always see someone like doing something or hanging out or whatever, and you get to see more people and talk to more people. But when you live off campus, it's pretty much like, all right, I'm gonna go to class. I might go to the library and chill for a little bit, but other than that, I'm heading home.
Yeah.
And I noticed that was just one of the things. Like, I really wish I could have got to like hang out more and see more people and do some more like kind of like activities rather than just go home and play video games or, you know, because yeah, I get to hang out with my roommates and we do stuff all the time, but like, you know, you never get the aspect of meeting a ton of new people.
Yeah, I definitely.
And I feel bad for like commuters because like commuters never really get that opportunity unless they fully like submerge themselves in like a ton of clubs because they don't really know what's going on.
Right.
If you're not there, you don't know.
And like the counter argument is that to live on campus, it costs more, which is true. But at the same time, one of the things that you get out of it, which is really priceless, is there's just something about living on campus where it just makes it that much more easy to get involved and hang out with other people that are also living on campus. And it really does help with improving your social skills, which is something that they definitely don't necessarily teach in like public school. Like, I was super awkward. I still am very awkward, but not nearly as awkward as I once was. But so like I was just going into college, I didn't know how to talk, and now I kind of know how to talk. I can hold a normal conversation without sounding too much of an idiot. So that's going for me. But that's definitely something that I've definitely really been able to get a lot of on the first 2 years that I lived on campus. And then, yeah, like moving off campus my junior and senior year, you know, all my friends also moved off campus, so it just kind of felt right. But at the same time, it really is such a surreal experience to be able to live on campus because you're part of a community of people, like all of your peers that are of your age, and you're just living in this small block of an area and just hanging out with everyone, going to dinner, grabbing food together, and all of that. And it's such a good experience to be able to have.
It's such a change because, you know, I used to see you, like, every day?
Basically.
Like, in some sort of way, whether I talked to you or whether I just saw you, you know, like, riding your longboard around, you were always around.
Right.
But now it's like, you know, you move off campus, I move off campus. I probably see you, like, once a week or once every 2 weeks, you know, just because we're probably not there as much. But yeah, you brought up, like, living on campus does give you, like, an opportunity to gain so much more, like, social skills. And it gave me an opportunity, like, to work on social skills, but also, like, it made me figure out, like, how in high school I didn't really, like, I wasn't the best of friends with the dudes I hung out with. I was okay friends with them, but not the best. So, like, it gave me an opportunity to kind of, like, figure out a little bit of who I was and, like, what kind of people I wanted to associate myself with.
Yeah.
Because that, like I said, like, that first month on campus, you know, you really figure out, like, what you're about, like, who you want to hang out with and what you want to do. Because you see pretty much all different types.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember, like, day one, like, moving into my dorm room, and I was the last one in there. And one dude was gone. One guy was in the band, so he was, you know, came in with his stuff, and all his friends came, and I was like, what in the world? And then, like, my other roommate was, like, playing video games on the computer. So it was, like, even from day one, like, I wasn't really talking to a whole lot of people, like, unless I already branched out and hung out somewhere else.
Yeah. So, what's one thing that you are grateful that you were able to have the opportunity to do in college?
So this past year, I joined a couple more clubs. And one was the university's American Marketing Association. and the other was the Student Association for Health Care Administration majors. And I think that is one of the things that I'm really like glad I did, because I got to like meet some more people or meet some more friends who were like maybe people you've seen in class, like you recognize a face or something, but you never really talked to because there was really no reason to.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really awesome because like it really helps out, like, especially like meeting people in your major. You all can talk about the same thing, because for a long time I only knew a couple people that were in my major, and if I didn't have a class with them, you know, I didn't really have a huge reason to talk to them, like other than like, hey, do you remember what this test is like? But like now, you know, you can talk to pretty much like, you're always going to have somebody around that you're going to know. So I always thought that part was really cool. And, you know, I got to do a couple trips with the AMA thing. I got to go to Wisconsin, and I got to go to New Orleans with them. So, like, I got the opportunity to hang out with them, you know, for long periods at a time and see what they're all about. And there's, you know, some of the best people I've ever met. You know, I love them all to death. But it was just such a cool experience. It was so different, and so it was a different challenge for me, so I really loved it.
Yeah.
And then with the Student Association, it was just an opportunity to take like a leadership role. Like, I got to know my professors better. They kind of got to know what I was all about. Because, you know, you see kids that like, they may never say a word to their professor. And, you know, a professor, you know, can be a great resource for you, and you really apply to using it well.
Mm.
So I got to meet like some of the leaders like in like my class, along with like some of the leaders in the program. I remember like I was out one night, and we were at like a bar or whatever. We were just hanging out. It was packed, but like we weren't really doing anything. We were just kind of there.
Yeah.
And some dude stumbles up to me, and he looks at me and he's like, "Hey man, you're gonna make it one of these days." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, dude. Like, you know, go back to your friends or your drink. You know, like I'm like, why are you talking to me? I haven't talked to you at all." You know, that's just what I'm thinking. I didn't say that, obviously. I was like, "Oh, hey man, what's going on? You know, good to see you." And he was like, "Yeah, dude, just by the way you talk, and like by the way, like the professor looks at you, like you're obviously like one of the better ones in the class." And like that's something that I didn't even recognize.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought I was different than anybody else in the class, but I guess it's noticeable to everybody else. So I've been telling like every one of my friends, like, even if you're in one group, join another.
Yeah.
Even if you're in multiple groups, try and join one if you have the time for it, because you're going to meet new people and you're going to get different experiences, and you're going to have more friends, and it's going to be a better time.
Yeah.
It might suck like on your schedule, right? Like, obviously you'll have some more meetings to go to and some more projects to work on, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
If you have the time to.
It really is important to get involved as much as you can, for sure. Like my personal belief is the first main thing you really need to focus on at school is obviously grades, but the second most important thing is definitely networking, just like getting involved with as much as you can, just because one, it makes the experience that much more enjoyable, but two, just because you never know who you might meet that might know a certain person that can help you out in the future. And that's always, I've already gotten a lot out of just that. Cool.
Yeah, I noticed like you had me on LinkedIn, and I remember like when we went to New Orleans, we met up with a girl who went to UT like, I don't know, like 7 to 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But she was living down there working for, I think it was like the New Orleans Saints and the Pelicans, like some sort of company that like the stadium agreements or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we got to meet up with her, and she got to teach us a little bit. So like, you know, even like opportunities like that, just me being in that organization who has a teacher who has a connection down there,
right,
made like that even like better for us, you know?
For sure.
Somebody always knows somebody, so
yeah,
that's the way I figured it out.
Definitely. Cool. So we have, I think that's just about all the time we have for the interview segment. So we're gonna head over to the game segment now. So we have 2 different games that we play.
All right.
So it is your goal to score as high as you can. Each game, I'll judge your performance on a scale of 1 to 100, giving you a maximum scoring range of 200. I'll then give you your score and let you know where your placement rests in the official Straight Out of College ranking list of champions. The first game we're going to play is called BS, which stands for Bad But Smart. Basically, how this game runs is I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions as if you were in an interview. And you have to answer them to the best of your ability, but the problem is they're going to be questions you're probably not going to know the answer to. So you have to basically almost stretch the truth to sound as good as you can. All right, ready?
All right, so I'm BSing.
You're BSing.
Okay, I got you.
All right, cool. All right, so how does an easy bake oven work?
An easy bake oven?
That's right.
All right, well, first things first, an easy bake oven is obviously like a little child's toy, so the first thing you want to do is you want to plug it into the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, it's not going to get any power without it. But make sure you have a parent around there, because you don't want to make sure anything crazy happens when it when it plugs in, like it sparks up or anything. But what you want to do is it's actually going to give you like a little bit of like edible liquid in a bottle. So you want to pour that out into a pan, and it's obviously like pans come with the Easy Bake Oven. And you want to, and for instance here we're going to go with cupcakes. If you want to make cupcakes, you're going to pour that little liquid into the pan. You're going to put that pan into the oven and set it to like a timer of like 15 minutes, which obviously on the Easy Bake Oven is just turning it all the way around. And then when it comes out, it's going to have a somewhat looking cupcake. Okay.
Now he talks a little fast there. You get nervous? Pressure's on.
There's a lot of directions you got to spit through, you know?
That's true. That's true.
Easy Bake Ovens are a little crazy.
Now, how would you go about marketing an Easy Bake Muffin? You know, like where would you want to sell it to? Who do you want to sell it to? How would you sell it?
Alright, yeah, so we'll attack this one together. So, if you were buying an Easy Bake Oven, who would you buy it for?
I'm asking you.
Okay, well, there goes my strategy of making you answer it all. But no, if I'm buying an Easy Bake Oven, I'm probably going to buy it for my daughter. Because if I buy it for me, I'm probably going to be like 35 to 40 years old, and I don't need it.
Oh. I think we lost connection there.
Sorry about that.
You're good, you're good.
Yeah, my mom came barging in with something ridiculous. I don't know. Something to do
with now is that an excuse to get out of the Easy Bake Oven question, or is that what actually happened?
It is what actually happened. I don't know if you could hear the dog barking or not. I don't know if I hung up in time.
I didn't hear any dog.
Absolutely flipping out.
All right.
You didn't, or you did?
I'll just take your word for it. All right.
Yeah. I'm sure you can still, if you listen hard enough, you can hear it in the background.
Okay, I heard a little bit. Yeah, so what would your marketing process be towards selling an Easy Bake Muffin?
So an Easy Bake Muffin is questionably edible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know a whole lot about whether that's so. My thing is, if I'm going to sell an Easy Bake Oven, in general, I'm looking for younger people.
That's
so
true.
what do? I'm going to try and get that at school. I'm going to try and sell it there. Now, obviously, you can't just go straight up selling toys at a school. But I could probably look for some sort of wild way. Like, I don't know about you, but we used to have, like, the Scholastic Book Fair all the time.
Yeah.
2 or 3 times a year. So I would try and find my way to sneak it in there. Maybe I write, like, a small little, like, pop-up book on the Easy Bake Oven.
Yeah.
The Easy Bake Muffin. And I try to sell that as part of it all. And, you know, schools have that 2 or 3 times a year. Then you hit up all the different schools in a given region, you know. You're probably selling them almost near every day.
Mm-hmm.
So first thing I'm doing is I'm getting on the phone with the Scholastic people, and I'm trying to sell this book and this product to them.
Okay. I'll give you points. That's a pretty good idea, but I am going to have to mark you off a little bit for the way you worded it. Like selling it at a school of kids, like selling toys to kids, it just kind of sounded weird, so I'm going to just mark a few things there. All right, moving on to the next question. What is a Bitcoin?
So, a Bitcoin is a virtual currency that Steven Seagal is actually making right now. And he's actually calling it the second gen of Bitcoin. And he is trying to find a way for people to purchase things and sell things through its own currency, which is entirely online. Now, I don't know how much Steven Seagal knows about online currency or anything about trading online, but I know he is working on it. And it's going to be the next big thing. So if you can get your hands on some Bitcoin stock, you better go for it. Trust me, trust Steven Seagal. It's going to be huge.
Okay. Well, you seem to know a decent amount about Bitcoins, and you also seem to know, a reasonable amount about Easy Bake Ovens. Now, what if I were to tell you that you are applying for a company that plans to make its own version of Easy Bake Ovens, but the only way they sell these ovens are through the currency of Bitcoins? How would you sell that?
And I'm applying for a job there?
Mm-hmm. And it's called Easy Bitcoin Oven.
Easy Bitcoin Oven?
That is correct.
Alright, so I'm assuming I'm in an interview
Mm-hmm.
at this place. And one of the things I like to do in an interview is I like to find a way to make myself stand out a little bit more. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a piece of pad paper, and I'm trying to think out all the different ways that we can market this Bitcoin oven to people. See, most people like to look at things through like a box or whatever, like, you know, point A to point B. How we get to point B, what's point B going to be? What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you is you got to look at point A first. So we got this Easy Bake Oven and we got this virtual currency.
That's right.
This Bitcoin that's coming out. How do we connect the two? Well, we know kids love, like, playing games online. We know, like, the whole, like, modern technology is wild right now, and that's all the craze.
Mm-hmm.
So my idea is we're going to sell this Easy Bake Oven as some sort of, like, online, like, currency thing that you would purchase through a game. The thing that's coming to my mind right now is, like, Webkins. I don't know, did you ever, like, mess around with Webkins when you were, like, 7?
Definitely.
Definitely.
For sure.
What is it? Like Tamagotchi, something, like, wild like that?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking is we're going to get, like, these Easy Bake Ovens sold on, like, currency. And you're going to earn that currency by playing these online, like, games that's on a site, fun, like, mini games, like, there's one that was just in my mind that I just lost. Cool Math for Kids or something, wild like that.
Mm-hmm.
Club Penguin almost. So you're going to earn up this VC pretty much playing this game. You're going to eventually have the opportunity to buy things on it. So one of the things that you could buy could be this Easy Bake Oven, or you could buy, like, this new mix for, like, cupcakes, muffins, cookies, whatever.
Yeah. I like it.
So that's my idea, is we're going to try to get them to go on to this game, make an account, and play these games, earn up this virtual currency, and then they can buy it as they go on.
That's a good idea.
It's kind of similar to how, how arcades work. Like, you need, like, 20,000 tickets to buy, like, the Xbox with the huge teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, realistically, you're spending, like, a lot more money trying to get there as is.
I think we just created something beautiful. Cool.
Yeah, I actually really like that question. Cool side note, I went to a marketing conference, and I got to hear the dude talk who was from EOS, like that the lip balm.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, egg shake thing you see all the girls have, yeah?
Yeah.
His way of philosophy of, like, he's an entrepreneur, he's innovative. His way of going about things might be the funniest thing I've ever heard. And he said you have to love the problem that you're looking at if you want to innovate anything. So what he does is he finds the things that pisses him off the most, and he changes them.
I like it.
So he, for instance, you're in a building. What color are those exit signs?
They're red.
That happen whenever there's a fire. They're red, you're right. So he said, why? And he cursed a lot, so I'm actually not going to say it like his direct quote. But he said, why in the world, if there is a fire, what's the last color you're looking for?
Probably red.
Red. So why in the world do they make the exit sign red if you're trying to figure out where to go and there's a fire everywhere?
It's a good question.
Someone came up to me and they said, I'm the guy that made that exit sign green or blue. I'm hiring that guy on the spot.
Nice.
And that was like the more like logical one. But he actually is involved with a toothpaste company that's new coming out called Hello. And he says he gets really ticked off at the fact that the container it's in, whenever you like press toothpaste out of it, it wrinkles up.
Yeah.
He said he was so pissed off about it that he went out, hired a bunch of engineers to figure out a toothpaste that doesn't wrinkle up. The bottle or the container doesn't wrinkle up as you use it, just because it annoyed him that much. And then he went on to find some sort of like health benefit along with it.
That sounds like
it's really like eye-opening to hear like a conversation like that about just some dude who's just like, yeah, I don't like this, so we're gonna change that.
That sounds like a good investment right there. All right, so last question for BS. So you have a big old piece of chocolate cake, right? And you have exactly 3 slices to cut it into 8 equal pieces. How would you cut it?
I have 3 slices to cut into 8 equal
That's
pieces.
Correct.
Do I know how big these slices are? Are they like all equal, or are they all different? Or?
The game plan is to make them equal pieces, but you have 3 slices to make 8 equal pieces. So what would your game plan be for that? What would your process be? How would you make those cuts?
Okay. So I have one more question about the cake.
Yeah.
Is this like the kind of cake that's like the square like sheet cake, or is this like a big round cake?
It's a big old round cake.
Okay, because I was about to say if it's a sheet cake, they're in the squares,
Yeah, it's way too easy.
Probably be a little bit.
Nice try though. Nice try.
Some of those pieces can be a little bit. Yeah, well, I mean, that would be a lot easier. But if you're having it round, I would simply just take the 3 slices and that's tough. You'd have to measure it out a little bit because eight's a really awkward number for that. It's a good question. I would just measure it up and see what the total number is, and then just divide that by 8 and do your best.
All right.
I don't think there's if there's a better way, then you got me. You stumped me, but.
I'm trying to picture in my head now, actually, now I'm thinking about it. I just looked this question up online. I've been asking everyone it, but so if you were to cut it 3 times, let's just say you do it evenly. So the first time you get half, second time you get quarters, then you have to do another half of one of those quarters. You would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
That's it.
6.
That's the volume question. I understand that. Yeah. And even studying like for the GMAT, that's like basic geometry, and that's one of the things. That's really smart. Yep, you got me on that one. 100%. I've seen a question like that before, and every time I never think of it.
Cool.
Yeah. Nice. You got me.
All right. So next up we have interview opposite day. Oh, before we get to that though, let me give you your final score. So this is out of 100. Right now the only person to have a score is Alec Falkenberg, who has a total of 170 out of 200. I think he scored like 85 on this last one. The one thing he had over you was he answered the cake really well. But I think one thing you had over him was with that easy bake oven with the Bitcoin. You had a pretty good thing going there for how crazy that idea was. So I'm thinking, because you guys are pretty even, so I'm going to give you an 84, because he got you with the cake. He did get you with the cake.
Alright, no, that's fine. I can live with an 84.
Alright, so yeah, going on to interview opposite day. And we only have about like 5 minutes left, so we're going to wrap it up pretty quick. Basically, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions as if you're in an interview, and you have to answer them the exact opposite of how you would normally answer them. And these are just normal, typical interview questions. Alright, are you ready?
Okay.
Alright, let's do it. So why...
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Oh man, I'm going to get that a lot. Alex did the exact same thing. Okay, cool. So why are you applying for this position, Trevor Oxley?
Because you told me
to. Alright.
You found me right out on the street. You told me to come in and interview for this, so I'm here. You told me to follow you in.
Yeah, that is true. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Am I doing this right? Is that
No, you're doing it. No, you're doing just fine, Trevor. You're doing just fine. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Alright, I'm wondering here.
Just like anything.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you right now.
Can you tell me something about yourself?
A little bit about myself?
Yeah. Anything.
Well, I'm a 5-foot female who got her associate's degree from Strayer, and I am a mother of 4.
Really?
And I really enjoy long walks on the beach, and it's a nice game of chess. I don't know.
You know what? I don't think you're not. Do you say you're 5'4"?
I am 5'4".
I don't believe that. You're taller than me, and I'm 6'1".
Have you seen me recently?
Have you shrunk?
It's very possible.
All right. Well, we will determine that when we have our in-person interview, if we ever get a chance to doing that. But I don't know how that's going to work. So why do you want this job?
I want this job because I want to make a lot of bank. I want to, get girls and eat a lot of cash, so I can buy me a helicopter and drive a Range Rover, bro.
Okay. What is your greatest achievement?
My greatest achievement?
Mm-hmm.
Man, let me tell you a little story, alright? Every other semester, we would do a food eating challenge back in college, and let me tell you, this is wild, alright?
Yeah.
And this one was like, we're gonna see who can eat 50 chicken nuggets the quickest. Alright?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot of skills that this job requires, but the mental capacity and the focus and the drive to eat 50 chicken nuggets faster than anybody else in that room out of 10 other dudes, that's something that you can't replace.
This is your story.
And that's my accomplishment. You can get so much out of it. That's what it's going to be.
All right. Please tell us about a time that you've exercised leadership.
One time, I exercised leadership. I went in to a room, and everybody was sitting there waiting on me to give this presentation.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing that I could have done was walk up onto that stage, get everybody's attention really quick. Everybody, the hush, goes across. Everybody looks at me, and I call up my friend Steve.
So your friend Steve gave you the presentation.
Yep. That's it.
Okay. All right. Do you have any questions for us?
Oh, that's still part of the game.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions for you, other than when you gonna let me know when I can get this office?
All right.
Because I like it. I like where we're at, and I want to be in it. So, when you gonna let me have it?
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for the interview. I think just from the phone connection, that really helps play a good part in your how bad the interview was. So I think that definitely helped you out. I'm gonna give you a nice 86. An 86. So overall, it gives you a total of 170 out of 200, which is very coincidentally the same score that Alec got. So congratulations, you are now tied for first.
There we go. I felt so awkward doing it. I don't know if you can tell I changed my voice a little bit.
Oh no, for sure. The awkwardness definitely helps play a part in it.
I was trying to do a mixture of Adam Scott and Will Ferrell's character from Step Brothers. I even quoted I tried to quote it as best as I could.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, yeah. I felt the awkwardness, so good job. That's one thing that we are both very good at.
That's 100% accurate. If you know anybody out in Hollywood who's looking for a guy, I'm available.
Dude, for real.
My people will talk.
Always apply for the roles that you fit, and I would make such a good awkward actor.
So perfect.
All right, man. Cool. So that's just about all the time we have for today. Trevor, it has been a pleasure interviewing you. Before we go, is there anything you'd like to say? Do you have any words of advice you'd like to give out, or if there's anything that you want us to promote, like social media or anything?
I don't think there's really anything in particular. It's been a blast. I hope this works out for you. I'm honored to be a guest in here. If you ever want me to come back, maybe a couple of years down the road, if you're continuing to do this or something, give me a shout. Maybe even in a couple of months, maybe when you're about to graduate. Maybe I'll have some different insight then.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Off College. Hey, audience, if you have any questions, recommendations for guests, or you'd like to be a guest, feel free to contact us at our email, soutofcollege@gmail.com, which is listed in the description. Also, if you'd like to support the podcast, please go out to our GoFundMe account in the description as well. All proceeds will go to the podcast, which pays for better equipment and other fees for creating a higher quality and more accessible podcast. Alrighty, that's all we got. Trevor, thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem, man.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Cool.